Charmaine in Alabama.
Hi, Charmaine.
Hey, Eric. Hey, Eric and Jenna.
Hello. You've been waiting a long time to talk to us.
Thank you for waiting.
And we have one more call after you. But I know.
That's because I love you guys.
Aw, we love you too. What'd you want to talk about?
Okay, well, I'm freshly deconverted as of like 6 months ago.
Oh, my God,
welcome.
you're with me.
I love it. No, but all of my friends, all of my family, including my husband, they're still theists. And I've been trying to, I'm sorry, I'm emotional.
Yeah.
I've been trying to come out to my husband, and he just kind of shrugs off, like I'll ask a question, and I try not to start off with, hey, babe, I don't believe anymore. I've been trying to kind of build up to a point, so I've been, like, asking a series of questions, which started about, I guess I would say a year ago. Started asking them simple questions, like I'll ask them a question a week and just be like, hey, on what grounds would you divorce me? Or on what grounds would you not love me anymore?
Mm-hmm.
On what grounds, these kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And ultimately what he just continued to say was, if you found somebody else, I'm sorry if you can hear my 4-month-old screaming in the background. Sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway, but I was just saying, hey, buddy, on what grounds would you not think that I was, that you wouldn't be with me anymore? And, every time it's just, oh, well, if you found somebody else to be with, then that would be it. And I was like, okay. So I've been trying to build up courage, but at this point, we're both involved in the church, because even though I'm an atheist, I haven't been able to just be like, okay, I stop everything. Yeah. I stepped down from my teaching position last year. I was teaching world religions and cults. And I think about 3 years ago, I started asking questions that I would be teaching about in cult class and in world religion class. And I got tired of people slamming other people's beliefs. And I started asking my own self what I believe in. So anyway, this is how I got deconverted. But I've just been kind of just like, I don't know how long I can keep up the charade, because I find that now in services, when we're there and we're singing, like I can't, I used to just be very, very emotionally evocative, so it didn't matter if I believed it or not. Mm-hmm. I just was like, oh, I really love the song, so I can cry. Or, oh, I really love this music, so I can dance. Mm-hmm. And now it's getting to the point where I can't do those things, and I just kind of find myself staring blankly. And then my husband sat next to me in a service recently, and the pastor in Spanish was like, hey, lift your hands and say Jesus is Lord. And I stood there. And he was like, did you hear what he said? And I tried to pretend that I didn't understand or that the translation was lacking, but he knew that I understood what it meant in Spanish. And so he just kind of looked at me and he was like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? And I was just like, we'll talk later.
So I'm going to see if I can understand what's going on real quick, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, good.
So you are fully deconverted?
Yes.
And you have been discussing some doubts with your husband over the past year, but not a whole lot, that he finally has gotten an idea that something might be different, but he doesn't know.
Right.
Okay. And you're at the point where you're already kind of fed up going along with the game that everybody else is playing that you don't want to play anymore, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you feel that if you were to tell him flat out, I'm an atheist, what do you think would happen?
Well, I was going to say, because he's heavily influenced by his leaders, I don't know, because he has a really loving leader that actually used to be, I forget what you call it, but anyway, he used to totally worship the energy. But he was, converted to Christianity. And so he's real compassionate. And he, is the one that encouraged my husband to not go into our marriage being macho and stuff like that. So he has a lot of weight with my husband, as far as what he thinks or how he responds to things. But I personally don't know how my husband will respond with just us talking.
Okay.
Because he doesn't really individualize his thoughts. He mostly is like, the Bible says, or, the pastor says.
Okay.
So I don't know what he personally would do or think.
So I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you if I was in your shoes, what I think I would do, and offer advice that there are more people with much more education than I have that might be able to help you better than I can. Secular Therapy Project might be a really good way to go if you have the means. I found my current therapist on Psychology Today by looking up by my insurance company and what I was looking for and kind of searching that way, and that's how I found mine. So seeking out help from professionals is the first step that I would do. The second step is something that I've learned, and having gone through this process and debating on whether or not I should tell my husband or talk to my husband or not, that communication, no matter what, whether it's faulty or not, is always a good default position to take, because if there is problems with your communication, you have to communicate to discover what those problems are and in order to fix them. You have to communicate in order to understand where the other person's coming from, where they are, because if you don't, well, then you don't know what kind of a relationship you're in, and you can't have a healthy relationship that way. And it's, again, it's just my personal opinion from my own personal experience. I would come to the conclusion that there is a possibility that my marriage might not make it through that, because I had built a relationship with a God and a religion background. Understanding that that was part of the contract that I essentially signed, I would understand that that could possibly come to an end, but that not being the goal, usually, you just have to accept that there are some things might happen that you might not want, but, all you can do is the best you can, And
Yeah.
if I can dovetail in just a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
The only thing that I would add after what you said, because what you said is yes, that. The only thing I would add in is when you're communicating, I know that this was a lesson that I've learned and it's helped, and that is talk about yourself. Mm-hmm. It can sometimes come off as an accusation unintentionally when you're communicating about these things. And so the best kind of communication that I've had was one where I said, hey, there's this thing going on and I'm really, really nervous. I'm afraid to tell you because I love you. And I'm afraid that by talking to you about this, it would hurt the way you think about me. But it's important that I talk to you because I love you.
Right.
And so
it's important to me to understand where you're coming from because I love you.
Yeah. Or for you, yeah.
Right. It's just to say that.
And so when you start there, instead of saying, I am an atheist, deal with it, because a lot of people have baggage with it. They think atheist means all of these other things. They think atheist means, you hate God, you worship the devil, you go out and you perform abortions every week, and you go out and you whatever, all of these different things. And a lot of people read that as, I don't want to have a relationship with you anymore. And
that can hurt. Prefacing
it and saying, hey, I care about you, and I'm afraid to tell you, to talk about this because I love you. Letting him know that you're still the person who loves him. You're still you.
And that you're telling them because you love them.
That has helped a lot in my life. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to be what helps in yours, but that's the best advice I have. I highly suggest what Jenna said, and that is getting therapy first or talking to a therapist. That way they can understand your individual, unique situation.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I learned in rehab was using the phrase, I'm feeling blank. Actually saying out loud to someone, I'm feeling like this. Because something that I've learned is that we don't say that enough, and we don't ask in return, I'm feeling like this, how are you feeling? We say, how are you? And we say, fine. Great.
Right.
Good. Sure. We don't think about it. We don't actually ask ourselves, how am I feeling? And what caused me to feel this way? And alternatively, asking our partner, hey, when I was going through that really rough time, a week ago, and I was just complaining and crying all the time, how were you feeling when I was going through that? That had something that had not occurred to me to ask about my husband when I was going through stuff until I started seeing a therapist. She asked me, how was your husband feeling? And I was like, I never thought to ask.
I would definitely listen to Jenna because I'm single. She's still happily married. So take her advice. But regardless of what happens, big hugs. I'm glad you called.
You know
in.
what? You're doing the right thing, and you have support. Just know that you're not alone. There are people out there. There are people that you can find. The internet helps.
There's a love bomb going on in the live chat.
Check out the live chat.
And you should see these people on the other side of the glass.
Yeah.
We're all rooting for you.
Well, thank you.
Big hugs, and you take care, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
We've got more callers to take. Let's move on because we are running late. I've got the warm fuzzies now. How about you?
Yeah, that was fun.
That's a tough position to be in. Yeah.
We're late.
Yeah, recently.
But you know what? I'd rather be on this side of things than where I was any day. Any day.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Me too.